Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and it's Christmas time, so I decided to rewatch and talk about and review Elf! Elf is a 2003 film that was directed by Jon Favreau. It stars Will Ferrell as Buddy the Elf. And when I talk about this plot, it's going to sound like the weirdest, maybe dumbest movie that you're ever going to hear about if you haven't seen it already. Will Ferrell plays Buddy the Elf, who, when he was a baby at an orphanage, he crawled into the bag that Santa brings for his gifts and whatnot, and he was accidentally brought to the North Pole. So he was grown up on this North Pole, raised by elves, until he figures out that he's an actual human. He goes back to New York to find his father, and wow. First, let me talk about Will Ferrell and how much he commits. I know that maybe lately I've been a lot more critical of Will Ferrell and his movies and his humor. I don't feel like he tries as much as he used to, but there was a point in time where I thought he could do no wrong. From his days on Saturday Night Live, I thought he was hilarious, and then his first few years of making movies, Elf included. This movie should not work. This movie should be horrible in so many ways. You almost watch it and go, how does this work? How is this so enjoyable to watch? It has to be, a lot of it has to be Will Ferrell, who, even though he can come off maybe as annoying, or you understand why certain characters around him are like, whoa, dude, whoa. He just commits. He's so energized. He's so happy. Smiling is his favorite. He's lovable. You can't help but love this guy because of where he came from and his upbringing. Seeing that whole stuff of him at the beginning at the North Pole, interacting with the elves who were smaller than him, and even the realization of him finding out he's human is quite hilarious. But then, when he somehow, someway walks from the North Pole to New York, he went through the Lincoln Tunnel. That's very important. Him running into James Caan. James Caan, I swear they just grabbed this guy and they never told him what movie he was making. He was just thrust into this because all of his reactions to Will Ferrell, all of his reactions and his facial expressions to what's going on around him, he looks genuinely annoyed all the time about this, and so I easily buy him as this character, as this father who has this office job. He runs a book company for kids, and it's not going well, so he's stressed out. He's at work all the time. I will say that the side plot they have of him, his wife, played by Mary Steenburgen, who I swear she plays the mom in like almost everything, but them and their son, yeah, they have this thing about he works too much, he's always at work, he's not there for the family enough. And look, I do understand that maybe he does spend too many hours there. Maybe him having to pitch meetings on Christmas Eve night is a little ridiculous, and I do think he should stick up for not having to do stuff like that. But I've talked about this before, where movies always try to make a father or a parent look like an a-hole because they work or because they have a job, a good paying job that they're serious about. I know family should come first. I understand it. I do. But there's never a gray area. It's always black and white, and the fathers are always the bad guys. But again, in some ways, I do see the point. Zooey Deschanel plays this girl who works at this Christmas store. Will Ferrell instantly connects to her, and somehow he gets a date with her. Their first date is just very charming. Everything about that aspect of it, the romantic aspects of it, is just well done. It's charming. I should talk about Jon Favreau, who directed the film. He's another big part of why this movie works. Its tone. It's not going too far off the deep end. It's just enough. especially when Will Ferrell Buddy gets upset finally over James Caan and just they have the blowout and he leaves. There's enough heartwarming moments. Obviously Santa shows up in New York, and I love that bit of the news reporter and everyone around them getting in the Christmas spirit, and that's what makes everything go. But I think the moment where Zooey Deschanel starts to sing and everyone else in the crowd starts to sing Santa's Coming to Town, that's a really nice moment. It is. It gets you emotional a little bit, and it's, again, somehow a movie this goofy, this silly, with Will Ferrell doing all the crazy stuff that he does. He eats spaghetti with maple syrup, for God's sakes. But you have these other moments that are in that Christmas spirit, are in that vein. It does get you in the holiday spirit. I'm watching a lot of these Christmas movies because sometimes me getting older and not being a kid anymore, it's not that easy for me to get into the Christmas spirit. So watching a movie like this has become a yearly, annual Christmas movie for me. It's now up there, my top 3 or 4 for sure. Some of the other actors, Bob Newhart plays Papa Elf. Artie Lang plays the fake Santa that he has that big brawl with. Faison Love, almost every scene that guy's in the store yelling at Buddy just makes me laugh. So much good things about this movie. Seriously, if you haven't seen Elf, then what are you waiting for? It's on TV almost all the time, especially now. But if you have seen it, what do you think of it? Do you like it as much as I do? Is it one of your favorite Christmas movies? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!